All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I am here in the offices in Fayetteville, Tennessee, and recording our latest episode of the Regeneration series. Really excited today to be connected with Sam Malawi, coming to us from his Sam Meya, sorry, in Malawi, coming to us about 8 hours later in his local time. Appreciate it, Sam. I know you've had some issues with the power this afternoon, so it's really great to be connected with you. Really good to follow up with you. I was with you in Malawi in March this year. We got a chance to do some interviews and travel around and see a lot of your home country and a lot of your home district where you live and work. But that's, March is a long time ago already. A lot of things have changed just in the last 4 months. So I just wanted to circle back up with you and just hear
Yeah,
what's been going on there in Malawi, particularly with everything that's been happening with COVID. So welcome, Sam, and give us some updates.
yeah. I think in Malawi there have been so many changes since March. The last time that we met, uh, to say that economically, as you know, Malawi is a landlocked country, and it mainly depends on ports from Mozambique. There are three ports in Mozambique, South Africa, and Tanzania. And that being the case, because Mozambique was on lockdown, South Africa was on lockdown, uh, I can say Malawi has been affected. One, economically, in the sense that most people are working remotely, and working remotely, it means a lot of things you have to use electronic devices, and you find that in most cases, the electronic devices that we use, they have some effects that you can't use them effectively, and in this case, uh, it has some impact on the working the working people. Secondly, in some organizations and the companies, they have even slashed down their salaries to say if somebody was getting something bigger, now is taking something small, of which is also an effect on economically on some people. And since some borders were locked down, this also has some effect on businesses, as some of the business that we have to have our essential things uh, are struggling, since the buying power is not there. So uh, people are struggling to particular business people. Some businesses are at the verge of closing. Some have already closed because of the effects of the pandemic. And we have also seen that prices of goods have gone up, especially those that we import from other countries. The prices have gone up. Socially, we can cite some examples like schools now, they are not yet opened, and as of now, we have seen a lot of girls uh, being impregnated, and there are a lot of child marriages that are going on. Like in one of the districts that I was working in, Palombe, as of last week, I understand there were almost 5,000 pregnancies that have been registered. So this is also something that is overwhelming in terms of uh, the effects of the pandemic. And also there is an increase in number of teenage pregnancies, teenage marriages, of which if a girl is impregnated, they are forced, the boy is forced into marriage, of which they end up to have a teenage pregnancies. And there is also an increase in number of gender-based violences in terms of the husband is at home full-time, the lady is full-time, and there is a lot of gender-based violences happening within the communities. As of now, in some of it, as Malawi as a whole, it was at almost 53% of registered cases. And there is also increased number of cases, particularly the past 2 weeks. It's when we registered a lot of cases. As of to date, we have almost reached 4,300 something cases. Out of those cases, we have registered almost 123 deaths. So this is also something that is alarming. And the increase of these cases, they are coming out from the campaigns that have been that has been happening in the past few months, because as you know, Malawi was going through presidential election, and this the rerun of the presidential election, and this also caused some because COVID, we are talking of social distance, and during the political rallies, there wasn't some social distances happening. And on the other hand, socially also, is the government took the initiative to migrate some of their citizens from South Africa. And as you might recall, South Africa is one of the countries that has been mostly affected here in Africa. And this being the case, the migration of these people to Malawi has also made Malawi to be vulnerable in terms of cases, new cases, and also local transmission that is happening now, because mostly the increase is mainly on local transmission. So these are some of the things that have really happened in Malawi since March, of which is as a country, it's really something that is overwhelming.
What specifically has the protocols? What has the government put in place? What have people been asked to do to try to limit the spread, and how are people responding in the local level?
Yeah, at first, because of the political tensions that was there, people thought the COVID-19 is politically motivated. And that being the case, it took some time for people to really understand that COVID is real. And that being the case, our government now has put in place in most of the open places, people should be wearing masks throughout. And also in terms of, because I just heard today that it will be now a law enforcing everybody to wear masks, and the use of hand sanitizers, hand washing, that will be enforced. Though currently the trend of things have changed, because people have seen that now COVID is real, COVID-19 is real, and they have taken everybody is taking some precautions on his own, so that the effects of COVID do not affect them. So as the government is taking all measures that could prevent people from being affected with COVID. So that is in place now.
Right. Well, based on our relationship and the work that you've done specifically around water and sanitation, hygiene practices, obviously this is a big part of what's going on in terms of how to control the spread of the virus. What things have changed around how people are using water points and different sanitation practices that have gone into effect at the village and community level? Is that something you've been working on, or what's been going on in terms of those water access points?
Yeah, I think on WASH, this is something that has at least reduced the spread of COVID-19 in terms of, because here in Malawi, when somebody says, greets you, he has to hold your hand. That is, they say somebody has greeted you. And that being the case, as one way of preventing the effects of COVID-19, now you have to greet one with your arm, not the hand. So on the joint here, or shoulder to shoulder. Then it's that's people have tried to adopt that, and on water itself, I think we are witnessing much congestion on water points because everybody has to fetch water so that it's steadily at home for use in terms of hand washing. And in terms of hygiene, there's really a behavior change in many people because people now they are washing their hands frequently now and then, to avoid before they because mostly we are used to say wash your hands when you are coming from a latrine or a toilet. Now people are they are washing their hands frequently. And on sanitation, it has enforced installation of hand washing facilities because we are promoting hand washing facilities at close to a latrine. Now people have devised hand washing facilities even outside the premises of a latrine, in terms of close to the house, whereby people frequently wash their hands, and that is the trend of things that people have changed their behavior. There is real behavior change that is there, because for people to access sanitizers, local communities, it's hard. Now the only thing that they can do is hand washing. So you'll find maybe in most of the households, there are hand washing facilities. And in terms of one effect that is there in terms of WASH is there's limited extension services, because people can't go out for extension services. So that's something that is really affecting communities. But still, we are trying under remote control to reach out to many through other means of reaching them out, in terms of maybe leaflets and other media houses, in terms of radios and other things that we can transmit the message to the communities.
Wow, lots going on, lots of changes. You said a little bit about this in your opening comments, but what is sort of the gender impact of all of this that's happening? You were saying that there's been a lot of a rise in unintentional pregnancy, increased domestic violence. What are some of the different impacts? Obviously, I think of women sort of doing a lot of the gathering of water, a lot of the food preparation, but also obviously there's going to be impact on men if they're not able to go do some of the regular daily labor activities that they're accustomed to because of the social distancing. What are some of these differential impacts that you're seeing in your district and around the country?
Yeah, most of the pandemic has really affected both men and women, including boys and girls. We have seen that most women, they are not really affected in terms of the pandemic itself, because when women do easily access hospital services than men here in Malawi. That's the trend of things. And you'll find that most women, they easily go to the hospital because you can say parenting here in Malawi, in terms of children, they are mostly attached to women. And in this case, women have easy access to hospitals. And in terms of the other things that I mentioned in my introductory saying is in terms of gender-based violence, we can see because there's congestion in water points, there's a lot of viruses happening because there are a lot of people around the water point. And when a woman plays from sourcing water, that also causes another gender-based violence at home because they have to quarrel at home. The man has to ask. And the other gender-based violence that is happening really is mainly because of people who were not used to stay together frequently in terms of a husband and a wife. Because most men have to go to work now, he's full-time at home. So that's also is another cause of gender-based violence. And in terms of as a country, we have registered almost 123 deaths, and you'll find that 92% of these deaths are men, of which that means there are a lot of men who are dying because of maybe their mindset of accessing hospital services. I don't know, but it's mostly men who are affected. And on top of that, even the most people who have contracted COVID-19, it's 90. According to latest statistics, is saying almost 93% are men.
Wow. Oh, interesting. That's quite
Yeah.
a start. Quite a stark difference.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, just say a little bit about you. I mean, how is this affecting you and your family? I mean, you're part of the country. You all are right in the middle of one of the rural districts as well. You're not in the capital and somehow separated from everything. You're living this with everybody else. How has it been for you and your family and your daughters?
Yeah, the pandemic has really affected us because there are a lot of things that we have to fetch from outside our household in terms of essential things like commodities. We have to fetch them to source them outside our household. Now, economically, you'll see that there's a price hike in many things of these essential items. Like today, I went to a supermarket to look for other items. I found that a lot of items their prices they are up, and that means I have to source extra resources to have things in place. And in terms of operation, you go to office maybe a day, you are back maybe twice a week. So you have to go to where you work, come back, go the next day, come back. Or that also is becoming expensive. And in terms of also looking at other facilities like internet, it's also expensive because here data in Malawi is it almost 80 cents higher than other countries in the SADC region, because in the some other countries in the SADC they are at 5 cents, but here in Malawi it's almost 80 cents, and it's the government that is trying to, maybe it has already said a warning to service providers so that they reduce their prices because it's too expensive. And now they're taking advantage because people can't access, they can't send any message without using internet. Now that's something that is very expensive here in Malawi. And operating from home is also expensive. That much because we are used to have other things at the office. Now you have to bring the office into your home. Now to have all those facilities that you use at the office, it has also impacted on the family. So there are a lot of things that have really impacted on the family.
Yeah, so many things that are happening right now.
Yeah,
it's not terribly different than the U.S. I guess that is one positive, that we are all experiencing this simultaneously, and all of us are struggling, and we're seeing all of our governments struggling to make do. But the fact that you all have been able to contain the virus and the number of deaths is really quite limited. It's really impressive that people have, as you said, overcome that initial fear of or doubt, mistrust that the virus was a political issue, and that they have really come and begun to change behavior and follow some of the protocols to get things in line. Just circling back on that a little bit, changing from the virus, you had mentioned a little bit about that there was a presidential election happening in the spring and early summer. There was actually a presidential election that started the previous year, and around March of 2019 was when the actual presidential election actually happened. But there's been an ongoing issue with that. Can you say a little bit more about what happened with the election last year and how that's played out over the last year, 18 months at this point?
Yeah, I think Malawi has been one of the learning examples to the world, because here in Malawi, you can say it's the first. There have been nations that have nullified their presidential elections, but here in Malawi, we had the elections that were done in June 2019, and the election case had to run up to sometime on February 3. That's when the judgment was done. And it was from this judgment from the Constitutional Court that changed the whole scenario in terms of elections. The Constitutional Court ruled out that elections should be redone, and they nullified the 2019 elections, only the presidential elections. But because it was tripartite elections, that is the members of parliament, the councillors and the presidential. The only elections that was nullified is the presidential elections. After nullifying the elections, they gave in 150 days that the Malawi Electoral Commission should conduct fresh presidential elections. Now, from February 3, the ruling party then had to also take the case to a higher court, and now the Supreme Court also made their judgment. That was sometime in early May, to say yes, the lower court judgment, we are still upholding it. Now the country has to do some fresh presidential elections. Now the presidential elections were done on 23rd June, because that was the 150 days were coming to an end on 2nd July. So the fresh elections were done on 23rd June, and the results were that the incumbent president was defeated. Now we have a new government in place, and this government, we are talking of now almost a month and some days, almost 40 days in office. And this government is it was almost an alliance of 8 parties that defeated the 2 parties that were ruling. And the president is from the party that was ruling then. That was when we were being ruled by one party, when Malawi was a one-party state. Okay. So the president is from that party. The vice is from another, who was the vice president then. Now the president is new, but the vice president has continued his office as vice president. So that's what has really happened in Malawi, and it's something that is transformative for Malawi, because we are heading for some changes. We have already seen some changes happening, a lot of arrests taking place, of which mostly they are relating it to abuse of resources from the past government, right. Because they are talking of a lot of millions and millions of dollars that have been abused by the previous government. So in a nutshell, this is what I can say, but the country is calm, and nothing to cause for alarm to say, but the country is now calm and there is peace and order.
That's to me just very remarkable, Sam. I think it says a lot about the country of Malawi, that there has really been a year and a half of political instability and a pandemic, and the country has remained peaceful. As you said, there's been some protests, but no uprisings, no violence, no deaths. We were talking when we were together in March that something similar happened in Kenya in 2017 with their presidential election, where the Supreme Court likewise saw irregularities in the election and had an annulment in the election was held again. But there was a lot more political turmoil. There was a lot more violence incited by the different parties. And ultimately, the same president remained in power. There was no change in the regime. The same president remains, and the opposition party was defeated in the second election. It's really, really quite impressive and in some ways surprising that the power and party in Malawi actually was removed. The president that had been in power was removed on the second round of the election. A new president has come in, and all of this has happened, so peacefully.
Yeah.
And and it's happened in the middle of COVID that they were managed to have this presidential election to happen. I think it's just
yeah.
it's
Though it was though it was worrisome for us because it's where also the local transmission of COVID has really taken place, because currently we have witnessed there are a number of political figures passing on because of COVID. That is some of the effects from their political rallies that were being conducted. Because when you are conducting political rallies, there was no social distance. And this is something that some professionals said it earlier on, to say, can we hold on to the elections? But still, because it was something that was ruled by the court, so the political parties had no choice than to follow what, because they gave them 150 days. So constitutionally, we had to follow the 150 days that was rated by the court, and this made Malawi an example to the world, because I think here there has no been any country in the world that has done what Malawi has done, and we are a model. We are a model, really. We are a model in terms of how we have handled the election case up to now, where the situation is now calm. There's nothing, and you can't hear of anything saying people are fighting because of the presidential elections that were held. No, everything is now calm. Only that we know during transition there must be a lot of changes happening in terms of offices, in terms of restructuring, in terms of so many things will happen, I know. But yes, for the first year, it should be expensive for the country because there will be so many things happening. But maybe second or third year, things will stabilize.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be, difficulties that come with such a abrupt change, and one that had such complications to bring it about. But I think as we see around the world that democracies everywhere are really struggling in general, and then struggling even more so with COVID in terms of democratic processes. We see that certainly in the U.S., UK, but across the European Union, all these countries are really struggling with how to handle what's going on and to not move into more authoritarian models in a way to try to manage what's happening, and to see Malawi and really, even in Kenya as well, to see the independence of the judiciary, to stand up to the political parties and the money and influence that comes with that, and potentially the violence as well. But that they stood, on their ethics and stood on the law, and that the systems have played through with different outcomes. But the fact that they actually then followed the systems that were set in place and new elections were held, I think is really, it is really a model. It's really inspiring to see African nations using their constitutions in these full ways, and in seeing their constitutions followed with such precision to bring about better outcomes that are more legitimate, whether there's a regime change or not. But the irregularities were addressed and things were improved. So it's just really impressive, and especially in Malawi to see a full regime change as a result, and to see it just happen so peacefully. It is really remarkable.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to all of you. I think it's just a very exciting. Just continue to impress me how well organized Malawi is. I know technically it is not a wealthy country, as you say. It's a landlocked country. There's a lot of sort of factors that inhibit Malawi's economic growth, but it just is a very well organized country with a lot of social cohesion and a lot of sort of sense of people collaborating and supporting each other, which is just really impressive.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and quoting from one of the MPs here in Malawi, I remember that late Munyenyembe said, you have accepted democracy. And remember that democracy is very expensive. So this is what we are facing because we are now here a democratic country. So we have to face the consequences. It's very expensive, really.
Right, right. Well, Sam, I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. It's been really great to be with you and to uh, hear everything that's been going on. I know it's a very difficult time for everyone there in the
Yeah,
country, as it is for most everyone around the world right now. But I think it's also inspiring on so many levels to see, what's happening at the national level there, all the way down to what's happening, at the village level of people finding ways to figure this out and to limit the spread of the virus and to really slowly stabilize things and hopefully begin to head in a better direction. But just continue to be impressed with your country and with the resilience of the people there.
yeah, yeah. That's something that we are proud of as Malawi, as a country. And I think we are forging now. We are forging ahead now to build our uh, economy and everything. And also, let me take this opportunity to thank you for the initiative that we should do chat this evening because here it's evening. I know there it's still is it around past 2?
Yeah, it's probably about 3 o'clock now. So yeah,
3 o'clock.
it's
Yeah,
still middle of the day for us. But thank you for staying up
yeah,
late and making this work.
yeah. It's here. It's 10:15 now.
Yeah.
Around 10:15.
Excellent.
Yeah, it has been a pleasure. Yeah, talking to you. I think we'll continue talking.
Yeah, same, Sam. It's really great to see you. Thank you for your time this evening, and wish everyone the best of luck there in Malawi. And to everyone out there listening to us today, it's great to see you all. Thanks for tuning in to the Regeneration series. I've been speaking with Sam Meya today in Malawi, and hope you've enjoyed it and learned a lot. I know that I have. Take care, everyone. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thanks.